All right, folks, this next video is part two of the thermal captured by Shane and myself. Shane's was on a handheld unit from a wagon road during the middle of an outing with some friends, and they were there doing some Bigfooting research. So this is going to be us going down on location and finding the spot, investigating the area, and getting a reference. Try to film Shane in the same position and go through all the investigative processes that we normally go through. Also, this is going to include the drone thermal that I captured the second night, which was Saturday night, the 21st. Shane captured his thermal Friday night on the 20th. So after that, I am going to, well, before we get down there, I will show the video. I'm going to show the video once we get on location. I'm going to show the video as he filmed it so that you guys can see it yourself before we get into the investigation of it. But first, we are going to start this second part at the campsite the next morning after I got the thermal drone footage, and we were all down there. So here we go.
Well, hello.
Hey.
You didn't.
I got some.
How did you waller? I understand there was some activity. When you come over here, look what happens.
He takes video of a man pissing.
Man,
For reference. It's reference.
That's
comparison.
what we got to post.
And since Mary mentioned it, I indeed did film the night before the campsite. I was actually looking across the Niangua River into the woods, and when I zoomed back over the campsite, I caught somebody walking around, and he did go to the bathroom. And Mary got to see it, and she laughed at it. So that's what she is referencing. So since she referenced it, I will have to show it. And what I was hoping for was seeing what a person looked like walking with the drone so that I could compare it to what I saw the night before, or that night, up on that ridge behind the people sitting on the wagon road. And the thing is, when you later in this video, when you see that video yourself, you're going to see the difference in whatever it was as opposed to a person. You can clearly see the clothing on this gentleman walking from the car and the tent, going over to use the restroom. So you can see his clothing really, really easily. So keep that in mind, and even come back and look at that when comparing it to the video that I will show you here shortly of what we captured on the ridge walking around. And when he leaves from the standing position, you will see that his footprints can be seen on the ground, and he has shoes on. So it's kind of interesting how the heat from your feet will still show up on the ground with the thermal camera.
Man, I'm proud of you.
It would be a
I'm proud of you.
short squatch pee.
Short squatch. Well, they got to pee too,
We assume they do, yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
I'm not sure I want to see that.
All right,
Don't do anything I want to do the drug doing here.
Okay.
every time I get a chance.
So is there people that have left already?
The majority of them are gone. We're the stragglers. We had about 30 people.
Well, what about the people that were with us last night?
Oh, they all took off.
I was going to get some snippets from some of them. The ones that were watching the thermal with me.
Yeah.
That lady, what was her name?
Vicky? She's
Yeah.
up at a cabin. She's headed out, but I can put you in contact with all of them.
That's our peeing culprit right there, trying to sneak into camp.
He's like, okay, all you get is a leg today.
Well, the other night I went to the bathroom and here comes Terry. He didn't have a shirt on. I'm like, oh, okay, you got pants on.
Oh,
Terry.
We got up the other morning to go see boxer shorts and walked across in the top shoes.
Oh, it's normally that one.
Some of the people
That should go.
well, it did with him, and I just kind of noticed.
Ken!
I'm gonna go. I'm on a mission.
How you doing, buddy? You know, I helped you got that video last night.
I'm glad you helped
It was
me.
right behind me. I knew that the whole time.
You are so funny.
Did Richard take off?
Probably. Yeah, him and Drew had to drive back to Dallas today. So.
Yeah, he wasn't feeling good last night.
No, he was a little tired. So. So yeah. But.
So when are we gonna get to see that footage?
The drone?
Yeah.
As soon as I get home,
You got it on an SD card?
I do.
I got a computer. I got a laptop.
No, that's all right.
Can you put it on the SD and not take it off the card
Yeah.
so that I can still have it on the
Yeah.
card?
Yeah, because that's how Shane was playing that other clip. He was just slipping that in there
All right.
and playing it. Let me go grab the laptop.
Hey, I still want popcorn. I didn't get any.
Get a fire.
Dang! You gotta do everything around here by yourself.
All right. We got a lot to do. I'm just not doing it. Did you get your splashy cookies?
I have not gotten anything but. Oh yeah, last night.
'Kay.
She walked around. Mary walked around and gave us
Squash cookies.
a helping.
Cherry pie and pie cheese.
They're not
Yeah.
good for you
You
on your
guys are
on your sugars.
back to making me break all my good habits I've tried to set up.
I got some good protein warming up here. Want
Yeah.
a piece of ham with it?
No, I'll just
You
take
have some of that cake that's
just the eggs.
on there?
Oh yeah. See,
Yeah.
one's a chocolate cake and one's a spice cake.
It's got white
Really?
icing on it.
You got really a chocolate cake?
With Marianne's foot in it.
Hey, there's an idea for you two.
I'm on a hill.
I just can't get over.
And the fields down below it.
And they are everywhere.
There you go.
Yeah, how can, when we showed up, well, the first people showed up there Wednesday. I came Thursday morning, but Wednesday night they were seeing shit, you know, like Richard and stuff was seeing stuff around campers. Like, they're like, oh, they were all excited and everything. It's like, okay, so you get activity here. Then we drive to out in the middle of nowhere and just, well, let's go here and we'll walk through the thing, and then 2 nights in a row.
So please. Have you? Is that? That's cherry. Oh,
Cherry Coke.
yeah. Knock yourself out.
Oh, I'll drink this all the way home.
He's been driving. I'll trade you that for a flag. Randy, don't be falling over our fire pit stuff.
few more minutes, nothing came out.
Where is your fire pit
And then I
stuff?
just chalked her up. Okay,
Oh.
That's
well,
somebody
I guess,
else's.
You know, I misjudged him, and it was, you know, deer something. You know.
Okay, one chair down. I'm done.
But then, you know, after thinking about it, and especially after my first sight, you know, that popped back in my mind with the parallel, and I thought, okay, well, that possibly could be a Bigfoot, or a big mud is what they call them down there. And that was my first sighting, and my first visual sighting.
Take those to the flower.
Same stand, I still hunt it because it's a beautiful spot to hunt. I shoot big bucks every year. Not every year, but usually every couple of years. And I see coming down the hill in the field edge a big black blob. You know, this is early November, so I'm looking through foliage. It's not full foliage, but early November there's still foliage. So I'm like, okay, we gotta try faster.
Person. They have no idea how isolated we really were, and you know, that's why I liked having those other two people looking over my shoulder when we were doing the droning, and the little lady was Vicky.
Yes.
With the footprints, you know. So yeah, that's why I wanted to get a video snippet from her.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it's exciting stuff.
Oh, yeah,
Nothing's
it's all
ever going to
good
be able to stand on its own, and it's all got to fit together. You know, all
Well,
these little
but
bits
it's
and
like,
pieces.
okay, so there's 2 nights of footage, you know, and if you guys can go back up there, get the exact tree and add that to it, I mean,
that all
Start
that
to get
evidence.
layers. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Oh, if you get hairs on the same tree, then it's over. It's game over.
yeah, exactly. So, but I got to go. So that Dan, real tall guy,
Yeah.
we were standing up there last night, and he comes over and he said, "Okay." And basically, what he was getting ready to say to me was he thought this was going to just be some podunk little hee-haw, whatever. He said, "I tell you," he said, "I'm impressed what you're doing." And he goes, and then he said, "Girl, you know people." He goes, "You got this one, you got this one." He goes, and then, oh my God, Randy Harrington comes rolling in. He goes, "You're hooked up."
Were you okay with it? Did you like it?
Yeah, I like it.
Awesome.
I think that Alex, like he'll sharpen that, and you're gonna be able to see more.
I mean, yeah.
separation
If you
and
could ever
stuff.
see any
Yeah.
movement like this once or
Right.
twice, that would be great.
Right. Yeah, you're gonna get more separation. I just sent Alex a still, and so he crisped it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what Alex is seeing. He was like, "Do you think that's a female and that's the mammary glands?" He's too far down. We think that's chest muscles and abs.
You know, I was
Yeah.
talking
Where
with
the
the
hair,
other,
where less hair is.
I was
Yeah.
talking with the gentleman over there. Do you know what that dark spot is? A big heavy beard.
No, actually it's not. If you look at the footage, it's a limb that's out
Okay,
closer
okay.
to us.
Because I told him, I said, when I look at someone like Shane or anybody with white hair, with my thermal camera, it turns black. Their gray hair will turn black.
Really?
That's how good hair is at changing the temperature of a face. So if you're seeing a big blob of black under the chin, it's got to be a beard.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of small trees in between
Yeah.
us. So
yeah.
there's like
at that
limbs.
particular moment, there's a
Okay.
limb that goes.
But if
across
it
there
was
in the
consistently
foreground.
below the chin, then
Right,
it could be a
right.
lot of hair.
Yeah, there's some moments where you don't see that separation as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's a little brighter.
Right on. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, Shane and I are going back to the location where the thermal video was taken and where I got the drone footage last night. So we're going to do a recreation of his video. We're going to try to find the two trees that the subject that he thermaled was hanging on to two trees as it went up from the ground and down to the ground. So we're going to get him back to where those trees are so that he can examine those trees and look for any hair snags in the bark. If we can find hairs in that bark because the thermal video showed us where to look for those hairs because of what we filmed, and we indeed find hairs, that is going to be the icing on the cake. This is the road heading out there. It's a long ways out, and I'm going to video some of the process down there on location. All right, here is the location, and I showed this screenshot from Google Earth on the previous video, but this again shows you where the vehicles park, where the black dot is, and it's a wagon road going out and around, and you can see the red X and the yellow arrow pointing to the wood line where Shane did his filming. So now we're going to go a little bit closer. All right, so the yellow arrow and on the wagon trail is where Shane was standing, and he was filming in that direction. So that red circle shows where the figure was seen, and that little yellow arrow within the red circle is where Shane found some tracks over by that dry wash. So I am now going to play you the video that Shane captured that night.
What was that? What the? Oh my God. You ain't gonna do this. What? Hold on. Stay right where you're at. Oh my God, that's crawling on all fours. I'm recording this.
Yeah, I can't tell what it is yet. It stood up though.
And we weren't able to get the exact spot we tried, but it was wrong after looking at it and going through it. So here we are, day 3, and we got the spot marked last night with the thermal. And get it right.
Never before in the history of Bigfooting have we had the technology that could put us right where the Bigfoot was to look for secondary evidence.
Yep.
Usually sightings are just a sighting, and that's all you got is somebody's story.
Very common.
Thermal video is going to allow us to stand right where the Bigfoot stood, and if he snagged a hair, it's on.
Yeah. I should have brought my backpack. I'll run back out and get it if we find anything.
Is this the draw that's got the recorder up there?
Yeah. We gotta get him on the inside though.
Last night Shane came in before anybody else and ran one of the log recorders up here in this dry wash, thinking that something may use that to come down off this low, it's a low ridge, but still. So we're gonna have to gather that, and
it's right in the vicinity of where we captured the thermal.
Yeah. So yeah, so especially after we left last night, which was close to 3. No, it was about 2, because I went to bed around 3. So I guess we left here 1:30 or 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, so whatever happened after that, I'm sure nobody else came in here after we left.
There's the marker. I was standing right here shooting through. You see, like, I couldn't really even see this stuff right here in the foreground. Of course, this thermal that we use is has a manual focus, so you can focus past stuff, which is super awesome. But the individual is right back here. The log recorder is right back over there, just off to the right of where the thermal was captured. So if you want, I'll run out and get the log recorder real quick.
Okay.
And then we'll set up the thermal, and I'll just hit record. I want to leave you my phone with the screenshot on it. Okay. Because I've got the trees lined up.
Perfect.
And we should be able to, this tree right here in the foreground, this straight one that's closest to us.
Yeah.
That's going to be like on the right side of the view, basically. Okay. That'll be, so we try to figure out exactly where it went and was, you know what I mean?
Beautiful.
But I believe I'm seeing where it is now. Like, I'm understanding now. I watched it again last night after we got back from to bed. I had veg on it for a minute, but there's a small tree that's in the back of all that, right in the center.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that's where that sunbitch was popping up, and where it was standing up was that tree. Let's kick him in the nuts.
All right.
Just yell, if something happens, just yell, Randy, because I'll be filming and I'll be busy.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going back to where Shane captured the thermal 2 nights ago, and we just did a recreation, so now we're going to go in there and look for evidence.
Possibly. Like, this has been freshly broken off of here. So that was one of the first things I found. I cased all this, and nothing. So it wasn't making sense to me until we got back to camp and realized, being able to look at the footage and the stills, it was all the way back here.
So it was using this briar thicket as cover.
Yeah.
This big pile of briar thicket here was a good cover for it.
Absolutely. So, like right here, it couldn't be seen at all. You know what I mean?
Right.
And this little downslope right here. So we either put them up right in here, right? And right here was
One of the views.
Yeah, right here was one of the views. So we're talking here, and if this was it, this thing was leaning and doing this too, if you remember, right? You see we got bark that's been pulled, but the way it was leaning, it looked like it was like almost standing right in here, and it was leaning across. So it's either this one or that tree.
Well, check those pieces of bark. What if a hair yanked one of those off?
Right.
Like if any of those pieces of bark down there might have a hair snagged on them. That looks like a plant fiber.
That's what I was thinking.
And did he go over to this other tree over here?
Well,
too?
it was either this tree or that tree. That's what I'm gonna have to determine on the
Closer look.
that you just took.
Yeah.
Now, here's something I noticed right away too. That goes there.
Oh yeah. Sure enough. Ooh, sure enough.
Or
Yeah, it looks a little bigger than that stem.
hard to say.
Well,
yeah, it could have came from up in there.
Could have broke off.
Maybe.
Broke off here. Here.
This has been broken off here.
Interesting.
That's old though.
So you'll be able to send me the pictures of the foot impressions you found?
Uh-huh.
And they were back here where?
They were right back here. Creek, that little drainage creek.
Yeah.
I keep calling it drainage creek, but it looks like it's spring fed actually.
Okay.
Up there. But it runs back through here and up on the shelf, like the bank.
Uh-huh.
There's a game trail that runs back through there. And there was that really good track was back over here. And then there was a dig and pivot point back over here.
Yeah.
And then the direction it pivoted, there was a really good compression.
Well, hopefully. But see that ridge? See that ridge on the other side of that little creek? That's the ridge where we caught the walker last night.
Yeah.
With the thermal drone.
Yeah, it was.
So there is a good sized ridge back here.
Absolutely. And here's the other option. And it was right here. Because it was completely disappearing when it was doing this. And there's a small tree here that's not showing up on the thermal real well, but it's almost, if this was it.
It made it look like there was two heat signatures because it was splitting.
Yeah, like it was doing this.
I did see that where it looked like it was splitting the heat signature.
Yeah. So, and this also, right here makes sense also, because from that vantage point, when it turned and went away, like here's what I was seeing, what I have in my head, and I could be completely wrong, but I was right through there. When it turned and went away, that away, it may not even have went to all fours, or if it did, it's way bigger than we think. And we were seeing the heat signature through the top of the grass, the high
Yeah,
stuff.
so it was just
And
hunkered.
it went here, right? It disappears right here. And remember that spot where it pops up at the end? I think that may have been right here. It went boom, and then out.
Nice.
So my inclination is this was it.
So this might
we'll
have.
know when we see meat. In these two spots.
So this might be the tree he was hugging.
And here's the other thing that I was thinking in the moment when this happened, right afterwards, there was another group right on down here. And if it was up here and it's just a little taller than me, it would have been able to see them too.
When Shane says group, we had multiple groups sitting out on that wagon trail. So we called them 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
So there was 4 different clusters of people sitting in chairs, and this was like the number 2 spot or whatever.
Yeah, that was kind of the deal. And we were sitting right through there. There was another group back over here.
So that could have been its movements, was making sure he was checking on that other group.
Yes. When we see it doing this, it could have been leaning this away to look at them, get a scope on them, and then it come back and focused on us, and then
constantly evasive. I mean, aware of where everyone is.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So you see, like, we're not even leaving tracks in this shit hardly, you know what I mean?
Right.
This ground is terrible for tracks. Absolutely terrible.
It's almost like mulch. Like you put mulch in your flower bed, where it's just, the ground is just covered with mulch.
All we need is a couple nice hairs, one with a medulla. See anything? Maybe looking for hair on this tree that we think the subject possibly was behind 2 nights ago. We have 2 different pieces of evidence from here this weekend. We're hoping for that 3rd.
And a footprint.
And a footprint, so yeah.
That
So
coincides with this
3.
one.
We have 3, looking for that 4th thing to
Seal
seal the deal.
Yeah. I had visions that I would just see the hair wafting in the wind. It would be that easy. That would be that easy to find.
A big tough
Yeah.
hair. If only.
Right.
You can only get so lucky too, though. We had a lot of good luck. Unbelievable luck. So hopefully this is the spot. That's where we were.
So Shane shows the location of the thermal figure, and it's leaving in that direction, and that leads over to the spring-fed creek where he found a possible track impression. So we will now head in that direction.
Sure. We got to get the log anyways.
Let's actually go out and around. It's much easier. Got this crazy thorns back here. And some of this has been moved because when I was showing the guys and stuff, I just filmed it stuff when I brought everybody else back here. I kind of went like this and some of it fell in. So it looks a little different, but like the toes and the ball of the foot, like there's a hard push off there. And how they're always talking about that pushback.
And that looks like a right foot.
Yes.
So the left foot would, I mean, if it's in a straight line.
Here. Right. And we had this little divot, which just in line with it, so not a huge deal. Right here's the recorder.
Oh, very good. Very good. Did
Yes,
y'all even
sir.
see that, people? Did you even see that recorder hiding there? So if we got a visitor last night after we left, this more than likely could be its path of travel.
Exactly.
So I'll get to listen to this. Awesome.
That's what we're hoping.
Awesome. Especially I want to hear gravel stomping.
Right, right.
That would be awesome.
We that's what we think it retreated back into here. So if you go right out here, remember that trail cuts back across here, right? And this cuts back and kind of follows that. So literally right down there and up that direction is where you were filming it, going right up there.
Yeah. And that will
And
be
this
the
is-
drone footage.
Yeah, and then we filmed it back here.
And there was no retrievable audio off of the recorder. I mean, there was audio, but nothing significant. No travels of footpaths in the gravel bed or anything like that. No calls, no knocks, no anything. So there's nothing to show from that. And now we will go into the thermal drone footage that I captured up on the hill. I am going to first show you the video that I did of myself walking in and around and under the trees on my uh, house location, so we can use this as reference. So I kick my flip-flops off so that you can see that I leave footprints on the ground, and then you will watch the video of what I captured on the ridge. The video that I took of the subject on the ridge, I would say the altitude of the drone varied from 150, 160 feet up to a couple of hundred feet up, maybe even a little more. So I raise and lower the drone a couple of times here while I'm doing my own self to so that we could get a close comparison to what I was following on the ridge. And it looks like it looks similar to me, the way it picks me up on the heat. Again, my yard is flat, so I don't have the incline or the elevation upward on the ridge the way I was filming the other subject. So there could have been a more elongation where instead of looking straight down at the tops of my head and shoulders, that there might be a little more of a lean as something is, say, traveling uphill. So you might see some of the back, possibly. So we have to take that possibility into consideration. I'm walking on flat ground, but I am walking in and out and under the cover of the trees. So it'll give us some indication of how to compare the two. So yeah. So immediately following this, I will go into the video of the subject that I was following on the ridge. It starts off at the parking lot that we were parked at on the wagon road, and then you will segue up into the hills and compare it to my video. There was about 15 minutes of thermal footage of me following the subject around. I only took this smaller clip because it was basically a lot of just the same stuff over and over, where it was just moving in and out and under tree structures. So and then there were times I was looking for it, so I just scaled it down to just a few minute clip here, where you can actually just see the figure a couple of times crossing under across some openings and possibly leaving heated footprints on the ground as it walked. So there you go. I am first having to locate the subjects in the chairs on the wagon road. I believe it was group number 2 that reported hearing a couple of tree knocks above them on the ridge above them. So I went down the wagon road until I found their location, and then I used the drone to pan up and move up the ridge slowly, just looking for a heat signature. That would be the first thing that I'm looking for, is just any heat signature that stands out amongst all of the trees and the foliage. So you're going to watch this process where we spot a heat signature and then start trailing it. One arrow shows the figure and the other arrow shows the people sitting in chairs. So remember, they had just heard it up the hill doing a tree knock. So that was a good location to find it, just above them on the ridge. And again, the arrow pointing to the people on the trail, because I was having to orientate myself to where I was looking. So further above them on the ridge, I will put another arrow when I finally see the subject again. In the video previous to this one, where I was viewing it with my GoPro camera on my head with the lady beside me and the gentleman, and we were talking about it, there were times when it looked like a singular upward animal, and then there were times it looked like I could see the back, like it was a longer animal. So I was having a hard time referencing what I was seeing. But was it leaning over so that at times you could see the length of its back, and then other times was it standing upright to where I could only just see a hot dot? So I was struggling with exactly how I was my orientation of what I was seeing. So that's why with my video, I leaned over so you could see my longer back as I was walking, and then standing straight up. So I can't quite tell how, whether this is a long-bodied animal or a vertical-bodied animal. So there you have it. This is the moment you can see tracks being left behind it. It was at this point that the battery starts going low on my drone and it wants to come home on its own. So I do not stop it from coming back. I was losing the subject under the tree lines, so I did have to get the drone back because of the battery power. And at this point, I want to show you that I did find some deer on the ridge. And the behavior of the deer are surely different than the lone figure that we tracked on the ridge. These were multiple deer in a location on a different part of that ridge. So I just want to show you the difference in how easily you can identify deer as opposed to that lone figure that was traipsing in and out and under tree cover. So here's some deer. So that way we can go ahead and rule out that subject before was not deer, or a deer, was not a deer. So as I bring the drone home this one last time, we're going to go ahead and end that because this video is about an hour long, and I want to keep them at about an hour long. But we will have a part 3, and this part 3 will bring everything together. We are going to have a detailed analysis from an expert on Shane's video, and this is going to tie everything together. So you're going to want to tune in to the third and final install of these 3 videos. Thank you.